Hi everybody, I'm Captain Floofers, and welcome back to the Archipelago Solo Multiworld Randomizer Challenge. This session, I'm basically just picking up where I left off with Mario 64. The plan was that I had a long list of stars that I could possibly get based on where I was and what I had already, the plan was to get all of the remaining ones that I possibly could. That was the plan. Remember when I said last time that the controls started giving me trouble? Yeah, well, my first task was to try and grab all the Dark World's red coins. That ended up not happening. I made about 11 minutes worth of attempts before I just said screw it and decided to move on to Big Boo's Haunt. I know I've mentioned it before, but the thing that puts me off with this homebrew port of Mario 64 is that things just feel off about it. I will be complaining about it more at length in future parts, but there's something with the controls or the physics that just affects the gameplay just enough that it feels just kind of wrong. I'm not normally this bad at Mario 64, and there will be parts here and there where I will be making multiple attempts to do things that I can normally do on the first try with the N64 or even the DS version. That said, Go on a Ghost Hunt went off mostly without a hitch, though a bit of that jank, for lack of a better word, did get me to slip down into the basement while I tried to get at that boo between the thin ledges. The star would give me an escape rope for one of the Pokemon games, so that kinda sucks, but I did at least have to clear this star objective to be able to accomplish later ones. Right, Big Boo's merry-go-round gave the adult wallet for Ocarina of Time, and Secret of the Haunted books yielded the magic mirror for Mystic Quest. I honestly don't remember, as of this voiceover, if I actually had the magic mirror for A Link to the Past at this point. That's just how consistently I've been keeping up with playing this challenge. But the Mystic Quest mirror at this point is entirely worthless, as I've already cleared out the Ice Pyramid. Seek the 8 red coins gave no trouble, but also gave no real reward. Big Boo's balcony was one I wasn't looking forward to with the state of things in this port. Defeating Big Boo was not a problem, but the jumping was a bit janky, and I ended up falling off the roof after nearly inching my way to the star. The jumping on my second try didn't go quite as planned either, but I was at least able to make it to the star regardless, and this time actually added another power star to the total. Eye to Eye in the secret room was a right mess to get to. It must have taken me 10 tries or something to make the wall jump into the attic area with the vanish cap still up, and even after making it, it only gave me an armor for one of the Doom games. Also, since I was getting annoyed with the jank that I had been experiencing with the port at this point, I opted out of going for the 100 coin star for the time being. Heading down into the basement area, I ran into Mips the Rabbit, and after a minute or so I was able to catch him for the computer map to Underhalls in Doom 2. Rather than head into the next course right away, I instead went to drain the moat, and hopefully get the stars in the Vanish Cap switch area. During my first attempt, I actually managed to get all of the red coins on the way down, so I figured I would be able to get that star no problem. But I messed up a jump on the moving platforms near the end, so that was the end of that. I didn't even get any of the initial red coins during the reattempt, so I just went straight for the switch itself, which gave me the Tree Wither for Mystic Quest. I headed back to the lobby for Hazy Maze Cave and got a Great Ball I didn't need from the Toad there. Then upon entering said cave, I actually forego the available stars for now and make a beeline for the Metal Cap Switch course. Again, there are a couple of attempts here, as an attempt to get rid of a Sniffet in the way ends up with a shot in the face and knockback into the current, forcing me out. The second attempt almost ends up the same way, but at least I'm able to get to some ground before getting washed away. I know that I'm not going to be able to get the red coins here without proper access to the metal cap, so I instead just hit the switch for an Ocarina of Time heart container. I go back to Hazy Maze Cave for reals this time, and instead of the metal cap cave, I steer Dory where I'm meant to, towards the star, which blesses me with the BFG 9000 for Doom 2. Finally! Now if only I could get some plasma weapons for Doom 1. Elevate for 8 red coins surprisingly went very smoothly, with none of the slip-ups I was expecting. The prize in turn was the computer map for Tower of Babel in Doom. I'm still not sure if this is really a great find, as Tower of Babel is simply a boss arena where you fight the Cyber Demon, and none of the checks are really hidden away. Most of the remaining Hazy Maze Cave stars either require or are made easier with the metal cap, so I put those off for now and just head straight to Watch for Falling Rocks, where I find a useless wood mail for Pokemon Emerald, all while resisting the urge to make a Panenkoic parallel universe reference. which I just did anyway. Calice. Once again, opting out of the 100 coin star for now, I head to Lethal Lava Land, which alleviates my tension a bit since having wing cap access means that I can cheese a lot of the travel around the map, even if I do end up bonking into the sides of platforms sometimes. Boil the Big Bully gives a garbage check, while Bully the Bullies gives me a bit of an issue. The smaller bullies are knocked off the platform very easily, but the big bully that shows up does give me some issues. Again, I don't know if it's something to do with the port, but I could swear that the big bully is usually easier to dispatch than this. The knockback on it seems to have been reduced a bit, and I even mess up a jump and take a small dip into the lava. It's worth it though, because defeating the bully grants me an emblem for Sonic Adventure 2. The rest of my experience in Lethal Lava Land is fairly fruitless though. To say that 8-coin puzzle with 15 pieces is a trifle is a pretty big understatement, but I only get a PP up for Pokemon, which isn't particularly useful. The flight to Red Hot Log Rolling results in an awkward bonk off the hitbox for the cage, leading me to losing a life. The second attempt does go as planned though, even if the check is only a Soul Sphere. Hot-footed into the volcano is just awkward the entire way, and while the jank doesn't really give me too much trouble in this case, and I'm able to make it to the star with little difficulty, even watching the footage back, it just feels off. Also, the check is a partial invisibility, so that sucks. Elevator tour in the volcano ends in the loss of 2 consecutive deaths that I don't 100% agree with, and frustrated, I head straight to Shifting Sandland. Unfortunately, my sole attempt at In the Talons of the Big Bird doesn't go well either, so to calm myself down, I just head up and into the tower, and into Wet Dry World, which is one of my favorite levels. I do end up having to make several attempts at shocking arrow lifts, and even then, the check just ends up being an Ultra Ball. So I decide that's enough Mario 64 for now, and I boot up a game that I haven't really touched since my second Archipelago session, Undertale. It does take me a bit to get the recording set up for Undertale, as for some reason OBS doesn't like doing window capture with it properly. Regardless, I get all my incoming checks from other games organized and set off finishing up the ruins. So, something else I should probably mention here, though I think I mention it in later parts as well, is that I don't really 100% know what I'm doing with Undertale. It's been years since I've done any playthroughs, and there isn't a proper tracker I could find anywhere for the game's randomizer. The only tracker I've been able to find is for an entrance rando, which doesn't help me, and I don't know where any of the checks are off the top of my head. While I do now know what my exact parameters for Go Mode are, I'm just kind of going with the flow here, so if I miss a hidden item, chances are it's probably not going to be triggered until I actually clear the game. There really isn't much to say for my trip through the ruins, as the trek through is basically the same as vanilla, as are the puzzles. I mainly just had to refamiliarize with myself with how to set up monsters to be spared. I guess I could mention the fight with Napstablook. I cheered for his hat. The Spider Bake Sale actually gave me the power bracelet for Link's Awakening, which threw that map wide open, so that was pretty huge. Some more puzzles later and I make it to Toriel's house. Then I just kind of messed around for a few minutes and sat through some dialogue, even though I don't really think I needed to. I just made sure to get the rest of the checks I knew about before fighting Toriel, but there really wasn't anything worth picking up. Even though I'm fairly sure that I read that sparing Toriel was actually optional for this playthrough, I went ahead and spared her for consistency. No point in not doing so, to be honest. And after leaving the ruins and having the standard conversation with Flowey, the game went through the title screen as normal and put me back into the hub. After taking some quick peeks through the other doors I had access to, I decided to go with the waterfall as my next objective. The story bit I was set to experience here is the part where Undyne hunts you down, and I ended up putting the Undyne letter EX in my inventory just in case. As of this voiceover, I am now fully aware that Undyne's letter is actually completely worthless for this playthrough, but I didn't know that at the time. Heading into the hidden cave behind the first waterfall I come across, I pick up what's normally the tutu, but it turns out to be an emblem for Sonic Adventure 2. After the first cutscene showing off Undyne, I relearn how to deal with the lily pad puzzles and head onward, sparing every encounter I come across. During the first chase sequence, I end up taking so many hits that I end up with only 1 hit point by the halfway mark, but I'm able to get through from there and quickly scarf down some healing items as soon as I get the chance. I get another emblem from the punch card box near the nice cream vendor, then move on from there through the dialogue sections with Papyrus and Onion-san. I try out the piano puzzle after Onion-san's section a bit, but can't for the life of me remember the solution, so I decide to move on and grab an umbrella. After getting some exposition from the Monster Kid and putting the umbrella back, I stumble my way through the second chase sequence with Undyne. The story then forces me down a waterfall, then I defeat the Mad Dummy in its battle of attrition. I grab a power star from the cooler south of the fight, then go to hang out with Napstablook for a little bit, all the while trying to remember if anything triggers a check in his house. Nothing does. I lost the snail race a couple of times too, but I honestly don't know if you can actually get something from this, or if you're just rigged to lose all the time. Gerson does have a couple of neat things for sale. In particular, I purchased the yellow keycard for the abandoned mines in Doom 2. The item finder for Pokemon Emerald is here as well, but I pass it up, considering that the invisible items in Emerald are not in logic, so it's kind of a waste of money here. After making my way through the next area, I come across Temmie Village, and the shop there is selling both the flippers for A Link to the Past and the unlock for Phobos Lab in Doom. I don't have enough money, but I do briefly consider maybe farming enough to pay for Temmie's tuition, even if it only gets me an ether for Emerald. I need to get it through my head that this isn't a standard run of the game, and it's okay to not get attached to the characters this time around. In any case, I decide to call it here for the night, and from here, I completely abandon this video format and go back to good old long-form, barely edited game footage. But until then, I've been Captain Floofers, and I'll be here next time. Join me, won't you?